right, good afternoon. It is September 1st, 2022. So we're going to have to roll over our contracts in a week or so. I just thought of that. We're using the September contract right now. So here's how I was seeing it today. Mostly a range day. You can see we broke a little bit below the overnight lows before the buying came in, and we almost tested the overnight highs. Let's take a look. Let's see about this. Okay, so it looks like we made a measured move. We bounced, and then they just made a new low and before reversing. So looks like we're pretty good sell-off right now. Probably going to test the midline. Let's take a look. I think I only had shorts marked today. So there's one long. We'll see. There might be something I'm missing in here, but I didn't see a whole lot of great trades. 5 o'clock comes somewhere in here. We had this breakout of this range to the high side that was failing. Looks like you get a failure right there. It comes down, overshoots the channel, and you do get a first failed second entry long. It's aggressive. You're going into the midline of the orange range, and you can see there's congestion that formed afterwards. So we go back, pretty much come a little bit short of the lows of the range, and then we come up here and find this congestion at the midline again, and then you get I look at this as a second entry short, higher, lower, higher, lower. Very bearish bar, but you're going right into that midline. So first great trade of the day comes right here. You have a second entry short off of this level of resistance. That's held prices so many times now. And it's also a lower high with room back to the EMA, so that is a great trade. And you only get back to the EMA really before it goes sideways a bit. So you actually have a second entry short right here, but it's just in no man's land, and I would expect prices to test this high again. So you can't take that. You actually get a failure right here. You're going into the lows. That's pretty dangerous, but I do like. I'll mark it green. Kind of like how it looks, but it's not off the EMA. There's a doji right there. There's actually a doji right there. So we come down here, we break lower, and we find some congestion. And you make this double top right here, but then you also get what looks like a double top on a larger scale. But to me, this looks like a failure. First entry, failed second entry long. So if you saw it that way and you saw it off the trend channel, you might take it, but it's also in congestion. You can see that. So that's definitely an aggressive move. You would actually go short one tick below this one. And then you have bunch of dojis. So this is very congestive, but it does end up working. You get an overshoot that leads to a break, and you get a reversal pattern right here. I just don't like that that's below the EMA, and given the context, I don't think you should be taking that. Leads to a big move up. And these are all like second, third, fourth, fifth entry, so you can't go take a failure or anything. Here you have a second entry long, but I don't think you can take that. It's pretty congestive, far from the EMA, but it makes one more move up before it starts chopping down. You get an overshoot, first entry, second entry. It's like a breakout pullback off of this price level. It's off. It's pretty much off of this key entry point, this short-term channel. So I like that for a trap. You can see a lot of people like that. Come down here, this looks like a second entry, but it's way too far from the EMA. Come down here, we're just going sideways. I don't like any of that. This move up, you don't get, you get an opportunity to get into. Then we find this congestion up here by the overnight lows. Turns out to be the top of a range. We're chopping. Find support at this midline. And really how I found the top of this range was lining up this midline with this swing high. And then I brought the resistance up here and support fit right there. So we get a failure, but at this point it's not clear we're going higher. You can see that it wasn't clear that we were going higher. You know, we found support here, but it wasn't like, it looks like a short-term support. So if you did get in that, you know, it's a failure. And we come down here and we test this again. And after testing this midline again, that's when I saw this failure set up, and I like that. There's room to the highs, so I think it's good. I don't think you want to take that second entry short, even though it looks like it might be a failure as well. Nothing in here. You get a failure. I don't think, or it looks like a failure. You can see it ticks higher here, but I don't think you want to take that because these are above the EMA. But then when you get, this is a new high, first entry, failed second entry, I think you can take that one. But it is aggressive, but it confirms the trend line. So it's pretty good. It's just that this midline has been holding prices. But we do go a little bit lower. First entry looks like a failure happens, but it doesn't set up for us. And we're just going higher. And turns out this is a channel. I don't think you want to go short up here. Yeah, so this is a failure, but it's not off a trend line. I mean, it probably ends up, this is the trend line right here, but you wouldn't have known that by then because you'd probably have it drawn flatter at that point. So if you happen to see that, which I don't think you would, you might take that. Oh, plus the signal bar closes above the EMA, so I don't think you can take that anyway. Come over here, we get a new low from this channel, and then we reverse. So, yeah, this is a failure I'm seeing right now, but with this going below the EMA, I mean, maybe if you see this trend channel, then maybe you take this failure, but I think that's very advanced. So, let me mark that green. You have this steep move up, get a break, move to a new high, slight overshoot of that channel, which you can see now eventually led to the break. The midline works here, so I don't think that the channel is here. I think the midline looked better, like right there. So yeah, so just sit patient. First entry looks like this is a failure. If it's off a trend line, maybe you take that. But I just, I don't know. It does close below the EMA, so you might take that. Not taking this failure because it's not off trend line and it closes below the EMA. And I think that's it. This is the failure that happened after I bounced off the trend line, so that probably trapped a lot of longs. Or you can see that it trapped a lot of longs, really. Let's see if we got a measure move right here. Came up short of a measured move right there, but it's pretty close. So practically got 2 measured legs of correction. Maybe they'll give the people a failure setup right here because it looks pretty good for a failure. Okay, so that's what I saw. I'll be back to do this tomorrow. I hope everyone had a great day. God bless you. See you tomorrow.